All right. Welcome, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I am streaming tonight from YouTube because we've been having some issues with the Facebook kind of saving it, and I wanted to make sure that everybody could see this. But I am going to try and go back and forth to the Facebook app and make sure that if there's anybody there having a hard time getting in, I can catch them. So give me just a second so that we can make sure that we see everybody and that we've got everybody in here. Let's see. Want to make sure we don't miss anybody. I'm excited to do this workshop with you guys. It's a lot of fun and it's super easy, and it's one of those things that I think you guys will find a lot of ways to use it. In fact, I'm going to show you some different ways to use this as well. It looks like we are on here. Go ahead, and I'm going to try and get this a little bit closer, so I apologize. Hopefully it's not going to throw you too much for a loop. I apologize for the view, but I want to make sure that we're okay there. Okay, and yes, I know you guys are seeing a lot of the junk on my desk, but we may use some of this too, and so that's why I've got some of this out. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. I hope you're excited about creating this with me tonight. We are going to have so much fun. This is such a good workshop. I brought my mat out here just so that we could kind of look at some of our measurements and stuff with this. So this is my old mat, but it works really, really well, and it doesn't give us the bad glare either. So hopefully this will help. Let's go ahead and pray, and then we are going to dive in. Dear Father, Lord, I just thank you for today. Lord, I thank you for your goodness and your love and your mercy. Lord, I thank you for this time of year that we can just remember the greatest gift that you gave us, Lord, your son. And we just thank you for his birth, Lord, and how we just get to celebrate him and you, Lord, and your goodness. Lord, I pray that you'll be with us tonight. Help me to speak clearly. Help us to have fun as we create this together, Lord, I pray in your precious and holy name. Amen. All right. Again, thank you so much for joining us. So what we're going to do tonight is everybody should have in their kit where you had gotten a bunch of paper, different paper scraps, and then you got some of this Memories and More, the Christmas Memories and More papers from Stampin' Up. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create this little mini album, which is so fun. You can easily add a lot of different photos to this, make it really pop, and have this kind of as a remembrance of all the things that you did at Christmas or through Christmas, or even maybe fill this in with pictures throughout the year that you can give as a gift to somebody at Christmas. So I know that my sister, her family lives out of the country. Her in-laws live out of the country, and so every year they try and send them a mini album or something like that with pictures of their son. And so this is one of those things that's going to be really, really great because, as you can see, it's got lots of pockets. It comes together super, super quickly, and I absolutely love this. And so here I've got my measurements on the back for us, but and then she can even like leave a little note or write something about the time of the year. Any of that on here is going to be helpful. And so we're going to put this together really, really quickly. The one thing I am going to say is this is something, if you wanted to recreate, you could easily recreate because though I cut all of these pieces on the Cricut just to make it for ease of having to cut for many of you all at once, this is something where if you were to take a die and cut it out of the center, and let me show you what I mean by that. So here's the pages that we have, okay? And if you were to take a die and put it here in the center, instead of for the Cricut, we can make that hole. So the way that you would do that, let me show you really quickly, okay? The way that we would do that is we might take some of our, let me see what kind of die I can find. Okay, a textured notes die. I think this is one that works really, really well with it if you have it. You would just take one of your dies and you would want to make sure it's the size that you want it, but you would hold it up to you. You would go ahead and we're going to fold our page in half. And you can make these pages any size that you want, okay? So if you wanted to do a smaller album, you could do a smaller album. If you wanted to do a 6x6 album and be able to use some of our 6x6 papers, you could do that. Because we're using the Memories and More pages, we know that these are going to be a 4x6 paper, is as big as it's going to be. But that means that our base is going to be more like 4 1/4, right? Or I'm sorry, 6 1/4. And then by like 8 1/2, I think is what we end up having it be. Yep, 8 1/2. That way we have room for our border that goes around it, right? And then once you make that cut, or make that fold, you're just going to take your die and washi tape it so that it's just barely over that edge, just like that. And then put it through your die cutting machine, whatever that is, so that it can make this little slit in here that when you open it up, that's what you see. So that is how you would make it if you wanted to try and make multiples of these beyond what we're doing today. So I don't want this just to be a one-time class. I want to show you how you would do this. And that would allow you to make as many pages as you want. For what we're doing tonight, we just have, a set number of pages and that kind of thing. But I'm going to show you how you can easily make this very, very simple. Is like I said, however many pages you would want in there. You could leave some in, some out. Do it however. I'm also going to bring in really quickly this one right here. So this is really fun because this paper pack is actually on clearance right now. And I know I'm going to mess it up. So I want to make sure I get it and tell you correctly what the name of it is. Every time I've tried to say it this week, I've said it wrong. So let me see if I can find it real quick. Sorry, you're just going to get the real me when I teach, because I want to make sure I tell you guys correctly all that we're doing, and I don't want to mess that up. So let me see. Got lots of paper packs in here. Okay, so this is the Storybook Moments paper pack, and I really, really love this. Literally what I did was I took the paper pack, and I have it in here, but this paper pack came with a sheet of PML cards, Picture My Life cards, whatever you would call them in the past, and Memory and More cards now, but they're all in one sheet of paper, right? You can see this, and you would just cut it out yourself, and that's what I did. And then the other side is just a sheet that you can use as your background. So what's nice about this is an actual 12x12 paper pack. I can scrapbook this. I can use all of these as elements on my layout. I love that. The other thing I liked about this pack is it came with a couple sheets of die cuts. And so let me pull some of those out just so you can kind of get a look of it. So the die cuts help by making this page that much better and more easier to just embellish and make the pages stand out. So it's got all of these sheets. It comes with 2 sheets of these die cuts that you can literally pop out and then just put in here for you to create with and do what you want. So that's what this idea came from here. And then I have a friend who's having a grandbaby, and so I thought this would be really fun. So I haven't put the name out here yet because I'm just kind of respecting their privacy. But I wanted to kind of show you what I came up with. So obviously the empty places here are going to be for our photos. And then I just went through some of my stamp sets and I just stamped some cute titles that I thought would work. And this is from a plethora of stamps. So some of these you may already have in stock or something like this that would work. But I've got Stinkin' Cute, Family Time. I took some of my embellishments here. Now when I attached this, I only attached it in the corner so I can, again, still put my photo up underneath. So if you don't have your photos yet, or if you're using this as a gift, that's just one thing for you to remember, okay? Then here I just took some paper. You can see here I've got love you, love you, love you. I just did a little stamp there with some embellishments. Here's another PML card that I was able to put. This is the best life. Again, just another stamp. Some of my PML or some of my die cuts here. I just went through, I've told you all before how I just keep boxes like this of embellishments and things that I can kind of go through. And then I also keep on my desk ones that are most recent until I, have a chance to file them away. And I love to go through those and just see what can I find that I can add to the current project that I'm working on, right? Life is good. I put this in here, and this is just a piece of the paper of the 12x12 paper that I was able to cut down. And then we've got some more photos here. Here, I've got just another little stamped sentiment here. Blessed, got that here, and then another one here, and then I just finished it with another sheet right here, and I can put like maybe a little stamp here saying made by me or something like that. But I kept it very, very simple again, because I really want this more for my friend. And so I want to be able to just make it so it's super easy for her to be able to put her photos in and embellish and add. And then there's like little pockets that we can add more photos to. And so, and on these, as you can see from what we did on this one, we've got some that I made. These are all going to be portrait, but then I changed some just to make it more fun and make it horizontal. So kind of just understand you can play around with this. If you know that you take more portrait pictures than you do horizontal photos, then maybe keep them all like this, or you can change some, do however you want. But I just really like to play around with it and keep it, make it really, really fun, unique looking, you know, just again, have some fun. Now, again, this one has a lot of pages, just like this one. And if this wouldn't work, then we could just let out. I said if we didn't have enough photos to fill this, we could just leave out one of the papers that we're going to create with, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind when you're putting your book together, is you get to create this like you want to create this, okay? The other thing I'm going to say is, so like I said, this is on the last chance and it's on clearance right now. So I would definitely get this if this is interests you at all. We've not played with it a whole lot, but it is such a cute set, especially if you know somebody who likes vintage and likes to work in the garden, or has you know, is maybe doing like a Peter Rabbit theme, something like that. This does not have Peter Rabbit on it, but it kind of reminds me of that, or is reminiscent of that. So but the one thing I did want to show you here on these as well is, if you look, in addition to the PM Pella cards, I've got these little sayings here. And those came from an ephemera pack that Stampin' Up! Has released, and is also right now on their clearance. And so I wanted to put those out, or let you know that right now. So if it's something that you're interested in, you can go ahead and be getting yourself. I actually have several kits that I am going to be getting them from, because these work so well. In fact, I wanted to show you real quick. I'm going to bring in some cards. I have to do literally almost 400 cards for Christmas, and I'm a little behind. But these are coming in so handy, because this is what the sheets are. And they just, you can see I've used some here, but these just pop out, and they've got that glistening of the gold, which is beautiful. I absolutely love those. And so I like that I can pop these out and then put them on my stamp set or my card pieces, or use them as an embellishment. And it's super easy, works really, really well, and looks beautiful. You know, in my opinion, I really think that it just looks beautiful and comes together well. And so what I wanted to do real quick before we got into here is I just wanted to show you, again, these are last chance, and they're already discounted a little bit. So I know they're not going to last long. But here's an example of a card that I made where I just added the tag right here. Very, very simple. I made several that were along the same line, because I really like this design. I thought it was really cute and would work well for what I had. Again, all of these little sayings came from that ephemera pack. So joy, 'tis the season, merry and bright. There's a Merry Christmas and a Happy Christmas, and I had Happy Christmas sitting here, so I used that too. And the other thing I want to show you too is this paper that you see right here on the back, that actually came from this paper pack here. So that is that sheet that has the cutting sheet right here. This is actually that back. So if you're not using it, this is one of the things I love about Stampin' Up! And their colors is they color coordinate all of their paper packs, and they'll let you know exactly what colors are in the kit so that you can use the same inks. And then if you run out of a piece of paper, or you need a different pattern for something, you can look at your other paper packs that maybe have that pattern. And so that's what I always do. I've talked to a lot of you before about how I organize all my papers, and I keep track of all of the different colors that are in there so that I can make sure that I can easily go and pull from here. But here I just cut out the little paper that comes in with my paper packs, and I glue it onto here. And this tells me all the pieces of color that I needed. And so for that color, that one was going to be, let's see, Old Olive. And so I was working with this that also has some Old Olive in it. And I grabbed it and I said, that will work perfectly. It almost looks like a wreath here in the background. So that's going to work out great. And so that's where that came from. So just something to consider. One of those things that never forget that, you know, when you're using your papers and you've got several, a lot of times they'll coordinate together. So again, here's just one more peek at those papers. The ephemera pieces, Happy Christmas, Merry and Bright Joy, Merry Christmas, Season's Greetings, From Our House to Yours, Merry and Bright. So lots of, again, different, I love this with the joy. I'm all about the joy all the time. So those are just some ideas of ways that you can use this and how it all kind of comes together to make this work super, super simply and go for you long term. And that's really kind of what we're looking for, is how can I take what I have and make it work for me long term in as many ways possible. And this definitely is going to do that for us. Okay, so I've showed you the one that you all have supplies for, which is this one. And I'm actually going to create a different color as you create yours today, just again to give you guys another option or view of ones that you can create. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got some of our pool party papers, and we're going to all grab. So you're going to have crumb cake. So grab all of your large crumb cake pieces like this. And then we're just going to start folding these together. So you should see a little crease, and just in order for these to fold well, go ahead and make sure you take a bone folder, fold those down. We're going to do this to all of them. I made this with my team last week during our team meeting, and we had such a good time because they could see all the possibilities of what we could do with this. And I think that it's just something for you to remember, like if you have a wedding, if you have we have lots and lots of babies being born at our church all the time. And so this is just one of those really sweet personal gifts that you can give to everybody, that you're kind of making it based on the theme that they have for their child, right? But, you know, we all love to show pictures of people in our lives, and it's so much better to have something like this, in my opinion, than, you know, taking out your phone and trying to scroll and show them pictures that way. Here's just a really cute, beautiful album somebody can put in their purse or bag and be able to show everybody how they're, you know, all about their grandchildren or their family or whatever you make this about. All right, so what we're going to do now is, in your kit also, you have this piece of paper. And let me give you the measurements for those that maybe if you want to kind of create this again to do another book. But this is going to be 1 3/4 by 11 1/2. And then we went and we're starting at the 1 1/4. Is our first score line, and then we're scoring 3/4 of an inch all the way across until we have another 1 1/4 at the end. Okay, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to accordion fold all of these pieces. Okay, so we're just going back and forth, accordion folding them. And again, you can make this any color base that you want, whatever's going to match the designs that you're using. When you're done, you want to be able to have your accordion folder where you see that both of the ends are facing in the same direction. Okay, that's what you're looking for. All right, now we've also, so we're going to set that to the side, put this out so you can kind of see it again. Now you have all of these little pieces here, and you should have, so again, these are all going to be crumb cake for you. These are going to be crumb cake. These are these little, we're going to call it, say, are like our locking mechanism. So we're going to hold those there. And then this for you would be cherry cobbler. So in your kit, you're going to have all these little pieces like this, and they're going to be cherry cobbler, okay? I'm using garden green, but you're going to fold them in half again where you see the slit, you should see like a little impression there or score line. And we're just folding all of these in half. And I did all of this on the Cricut, but again, if you're trying to create these on your own, you would do, it's 1.5 by 2 1/4. And then you're going to score it long ways. So again, I'm kind of giving you the measurements because I'd really love to see you all do this. I think this is a great way of just kind of bringing even more forward and using up some of your supplies and creating some great gifts. So again, just make a nice solid crease with your bone folder. Okay. I'm hoping and praying that this video continues. We've been having a lot of in and out service on our internet, even though we have really expensive internet service, but everybody's online shopping. And so it's slowing things down greatly. Okay, so we've got all of these and we're just going to kind of put these to the side for now, but I wanted you to be able to have those done since we're scoring our things together. And the only other thing that you should have in your kit besides your ephemera pack is going to be, let's see, is going to be some more of these cards. And these are just 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. These are the same size as basically as your PML cards, just a little bit bigger so that you can have that edging around it as well. Yours are going to be in the crumb cake, and then you can see I've got mine in the pool party. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside just for a second, put these over here in the corner, and I'm going to take my other pieces and put those in the corner over here. All right, now we've got our book. What we want to do with our book is we're going to take this long piece, and this is going to be our front cover. Okay, so I'm going to take this long piece. I want to make sure that the front of it kind of goes around the front, right? It's going to kind of have almost like a belt loop. But this little piece here, okay, I'm holding this like this, and I'm creating like a pocket, and I'm going to fit this through that little opening, just like that. And then I'm going to open my paper, and I'm going to take one of these pieces, these little pieces, and I'm just going to stick it in there just like that. And these pieces, by the way, are 3/4 by 2 1/4. And this is going to be the locking hinge, which makes it so that it doesn't come out. See how it's not going to come out now? That's going to hold it in place, okay? We don't have to glue that in because we're going to do some other things with it. But right now, that's going to help hold it in place. So I'm going to close my page. I'm going to take my next section, my next booklet, as you can see, or pages. And I'm going to create that again where it's just folded over. And I so apologize. You can hear the dogs and their toys, but they are playing, and that's better than barking, right? And we're just slid that one in here, and we're going to do the same thing here. And so we've got this. We're just sliding that in there, making that mechanism, closing it. And we're going to do this for every single one of our pages. So again, if you didn't need all of these pages, then you would just leave out one. So hold on one second. I'm going to put this in here. And we're going to continue just like that, going all the way across. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing here. I'm sticking this in just like that. Putting this one in. So making this really fun, cute, easy little mechanism thing here that we're going to use. So again, if I wanted to stop right there and just have those pages, I could cut this a little shorter, or I could just lay it down and glue it all down. But I'm going to go ahead and put all of them in there because I've got the cards and I've got some ideas. So we're just going to play with it. Just like this. We're going to continue on. Now, pay attention if you're using the crumb cake, there really wasn't a difference on one side or the other. But on the pool party, because I used the 12 by 12 sheets, you can see that there's a darker side and a lighter side. So it's up to you whenever you're doing your creation to decide, hey, what color do I want the inside, what everybody's going to see? What color do I want, seen? And pay attention to that just to make sure that it's the same all the way through the book. You don't want some of them light and some of them dark and then it not to look quite right. All right, so whoops, I missed that last one. So again, I just folded it in and I'm hooking it through there, putting it all the way in. I think I had one extra. All right. And then what you're going to do once you've got that, so it should look like this if you put all your pages in there where you have a little bit longer flap on both sides sticking out. So before you do anything, go ahead and get them all. Sorry about shaking it, but you're going to get them all so that they're laying down hard, and then you're going to make sure that they're all even all the way around. So you want to make sure you have a nice tight book, right? All right, then what we're going to do is on something like this, I want to use a liquid adhesive for this hinge part because I want to make sure that it's not going to move. And the more people play with it, obviously, the easier it is to come apart. So you'll see that I'm going to use like my tape adhesive for quite a bit. But for the hinge itself and this binding, I definitely want to make sure that I'm using a liquid adhesive just to make sure that it holds up well and does what it needs to do. All right, so there we go. Easy peasy, right? Now, as we're creating, you can see where some of your papers are separated. So you've got, this was one fold and then this is another fold. Depending on how many photos you need, you could leave it exactly like that. But if you didn't need to put all of your photos in, like if you didn't have as many photos as maybe all these page openings and options are, you can glue these together. But if you glue these pages together, you can just glue them together, no big deal, nothing else you need to do. Or you can do it kind of like I've done here, and you can make a pocket out of them, which is, and I am going to show you kind of how we did that. But you can see where I made a pocket so I could put in some more photos, and I kept them small, but it also is more of an embellishment as well. 3x4s, you could put some hidden journaling in there. You could put a gift card in there if you wanted, if it was like, you know, just an extra little touch that you wanted to do. But this is something you could do. Now, another thing to think about as we're doing this as well is if this book is something that you want people to be able to display. And so one thing to kind of consider is, as you can see on this one, the first primary card is going horizontally. So if they were going to display it, I'd want them to be able to display it kind of like this, right? And so it works that I have these two pieces right here that are going to kind of hold it up a little bit, separated, so that they can kind of create their own stand as I do this. But if you have them really close together, or they're right there at the center, they're not going to be able to create that separation that you would need to kind of give it legs. So you might want to put it more on the ends if you're going to keep them a little bit closer together instead of putting them up here. If you were going to put them all down here, I would do them at the ends. And just as you put your cards on, you would have it down here. And again, I'll show you a little bit more of that as we go through, but it's just something I want you to think about as you're putting yours together. So for this one, like I said, as you see, we've got our main card has the visual or the words, so it's going horizontal. So it makes sense that I could set it up like this. For the other one I did, I've got my characters going portrait, right? So with the characters going portrait, I'm not necessarily going to put it down like this. That wouldn't make sense, right? So it would be something that if they were going to display, they would have open like that. So that would make sense, and it wouldn't be an issue as long as I didn't have anything sticking out of the bottom, which hopefully we wouldn't have anything sticking out of the bottom like these, because then they'd fall out, right? So that shouldn't be a problem. So just again, one of those things for you to consider as you're creating your book. All right, so here we have that. And honestly, right now, the rest of it is just decorating this up. We've got all of the pieces here we need. And so we're just going to bring in some of our Memories and More cards, or Picture My Life cards, PML cards, whatever it is that you have, or even papers if you're trying to use a paper pack that's going to work really, really well. I am actually going to use a brand new kit that we have that I'm really excited about. This one is brand new from Stampin' Up, and it's the Days Like This Memories and More kit. And so you can see I've got 2 of each card basically in here, and they come with enough that you could separate out. And if you only got like one of these, you could do 6 different books like this if you only used one. But I took 2, that way I could play with it just for a second because they are double-sided. I wanted to be able to play and see each side of it as I'm creating and see, okay, what's going to work best for what I've got. So here's just a good sneak peek, and so you can kind of see and play with it. So obviously that's the same. And then these 2 are the same, and this says filled with happiness, and you've got these beautiful flowers. So it's very springy looking, right? So if you had, like, say, spring family photos done, this would be beautiful, right? Or if you have a baby girl maybe, and you want to keep it very simplistic and it not necessarily look like a baby, you could easily do this one as well. I think this is just this could be good for Easter. Okay, so right here, those are 2. All good things. Again, with the butterflies and the flowers. Lots of laughter and more butterflies. So as you're playing with this, think about any stamp sets that you have, or embossing folders that you have that maybe have butterflies on it. I know we've had several that, several of you have as well that you have purchased that are just beautiful, and they really go a long way. And so that's a good way that you could be using these. Days like these, it's a good place for journaling or a little note or any of that. So again, we're using this as a gift book. Or I am. You may be using it for just a gift book for yourself to be able to show off your friends and family in different events. So you're going to create this as, however you want. So the first thing I would do is I would find, okay, what do I want my cover to be? And I think I really like this one for my cover, because just like this Memories and More card, it is horizontal. I can put some wording here. Not sure what I'm going to put there yet because I'm not sure I'm going to use this, but I want to go ahead and put it together so I can get a good visual of it and decide like what I want to do and have it ready to go. So I like that it's a big, bold statement. It's a 4x6 card that will work really, really well for this. And so I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down. Again, you can use liquid adhesive, tape adhesive for this. I've got the liquid adhesive right there here, so I'm just going to use that. I do know that I'm going to probably pull in my tape adhesive, but I'm going to have to change it very quickly as well. So just like that. So for you, with your cards that you have, you would, if you chose to, you would probably take this Most Wonderful Time of the Year PML card or Memories and More card, and that would be your primary. So if you're creating it like I created mine originally, that's what you would do. Okay. And I'm going to keep this one here so that you can see it and follow along, as well as while I'm creating this one so that you can see that is how I'm doing it as well. All right, so we've got this here. We'll do all of our different tags and words at the end, so don't worry about doing that now. Right now, we just want to kind of fill our book. And as you can see, the crease here is really good. Because I use the two-tone cardstock, you do see a little bit of the white coming through from where we creased it, and then the white pops in. If you don't like that, you can easily just take your blending brush and some of the Pool Party. Again, that's another reason why I love the colors that are coordinate all the way across with our inks and our stamp pads and our paper packs, all of that. But you could easily just ink that up. I don't mind because I feel like, see how this is kind of distressed? I kind of feel like that brings that in. But if you don't like it, if you don't like that distressed look, that's something you can very quickly and easily change. Okay, so then we're going to go to the first page. Now I'm not going to put in the photo placeholders right now because we can see kind of where those are going to go. So I'm not going to worry about those. That's something that you could do. I didn't send those to you either. It's not something currently that we carry in bulk. So hopefully we will eventually soon. But so for yours, if you want to follow along, this is the one that you would use here. It does not say Joy. That's one of the ephemera pieces that we're adding. So it's just this card here. And the way that you do that is you're going to take 2 of these cards, okay? And that's going to be your base for that. And then on the back, I just have a photo, Okay, so let me show you what I'm going to do. So for this first one, I'm going to take, let me see what I want. Let's see. I like this all good things. So I've got my all good things. And then these are going to be like our little tabs that we're going to use. And you can do these tabs a couple different ways. You can do them so that they're all inside, or you can do them so that they're all outside. So when I say inside, I mean you're going to have a top and a bottom, and you're going to put this inside so that you don't have any of the green showing, or you can make it so that the green is kind of there showing. I like it best inside. Okay, now before we glue this together, we want to encompass this piece right here so that you can't see the hinge. We want these two pieces to go around it kind of like this, where you don't see the hinge. It hides that, but it allows us to be able to use it as a decorative piece in the middle as well. So the way I'm going to do that is going to be, I'm going to make sure that my lock is in there centered. I'm going to take my my glue, and I'm going to be careful while I do this because I need to put this in here so that you can see. I'm putting it all the way up, but giving myself just an itty bitty little gap so that when I go to close my book, this is not going to inhibit it. So it's not all the way up to the crease, but pretty close. Let me show you. Do you see how close that is to the crease? It's kind of hard to see with this light color paper, but the crease is right here, and I'm an eyelash away. All right, and then I'm going to take my other piece. Before I put that in there, I'm going to stick this in the center. And this one's not going to matter, but if you were trying to do like we talked about earlier, where if you were putting a pocket into the side, you might want to move this further down. But because this is going to be in the middle, and it's not going to stick out of my book, I'm not going to worry about it. For extra reinforcement, I'm going to put some glue in the center and on the outside. And then I'm just going to take my other piece here and I'm going to line it up so that it covers up the back side of that one. And then my little tab is in the center for both. Just like that. So that's going to create that little pocket per se. It's going to hide my mechanism and again almost reinforce it a little bit more so that it can't get pulled out, right? Where I don't see it getting pulled out since we've already got it glued down here and there, but it's just another way of doing that and hiding it and getting to really utilize the space. Then I'm just going to take this card and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Let me do that real quick. Okay, all good things. And then again, I can put a photo here or I can put another card, totally up to you. Okay, and so then we'll put a large photo here. So that's what we've got so far, right? We are going to, like I said, go back and add our embellishments later. So I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just trying to create my book. Okay, so now let me put these back over here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the page. Now this is where my pages are two separate booklets per se. And so what I want to do is I want to glue this together, but I do like to create the fun little pocket that's inside. So on this one here, I put the pocket off to the side there. And I can even keep it so that as I put it back in there, you can get the Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas, however you want, where it sticks out. But I am going to put it all the way in there. So I only get just, the red coming through. You could also do it at the top. So just think about where you want to have it sticking out, because this is one of those that would stick out if you decided to make this into a little, booklet or piece. Now, as you can see here as well, what I did was I just used a photo placeholder. I didn't use any of my cardstock here, but I could. Okay, so it wouldn't be a big deal. And if I did want to put it on the side, this is again where I might put it so that instead of it being here, I might put it closer to the bottom here. And then as I go to glue in, I would only glue to the very, very end or bottom of my page so that this would go down further and then it would help it stand up a little bit better. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So because I don't have a photo placeholder, I'm just going to take one of my cards and I'm going to go ahead and put it just like this. I could take two and then hide it so that it's inside like that, which is honestly what I prefer. But just for time's sake tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one and then my photo would kind of overlap it just a little bit. So let me go ahead and get this glued in. And what I'm going to do, because of what we talked about, I want to kind of give you an idea of it. I'm going to move this up for a second. I'm going to take this little card and I'm going to put it so that it's all the way at the bottom. Just like that. And then I'm just going to close it. Okay. And so I want to make sure, honestly, that it's nice and straight. It's not crooked. Just like that. I'm going to hold it down just for a second because it's a liquid adhesive. I want to make sure it adheres. And it does very, very well on this. Okay. So now as I go to put this in my book, remember, we're going to have to glue these pages together in order to make this like a pocket that's going to come out, right? So when I do that, this again is where I'm going to want to use my liquid adhesive because it's going to keep it from all moving around, and especially the more we pull on it. So I'm just putting a very thin line all the way at the bottom, and then I'm going to do one at the top, and then one on the side, and then I'm going to take my card, and I'm going to put my card in as far as I want it to go. So it's going to be in just a little bit further than where the tab is sticking out, but I've also got a lot of the tab in. So let me lift this up if I can show you without messing it up, without putting my hand in it. But here we go. So I've got that. I put this in here. So that tells me how far up I can go with my adhesive because I want to create a pocket where it's not going to move, right? So now I'm just going to take my liquid adhesive again. I'm going to add more where above my card. I am giving it just a little bit of wiggle room. Not a lot, because again, I want it to stay towards the bottom, but I'm not getting right up on top of it. All right, so just to make sure if my glue smears a little bit as I close it, I'm going to take that out and then close this up and make sure it's all lined up as I close it up. And then I'm just going to give it another minute as I hold it and make sure it's all nice and lined up. I'm going to give it a minute to adhere nicely. There you go. And I can see there's a little pocket there. It's like popping open just a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit, but that's good. I want to see that. I don't want to see that right here or here because that's where I glued it closed, right? But I do want to see it in the center. All right, so now I'm just going to take this, stick it in, and move it all the way down. Make sure I can move it all the way to the bottom and then leave it in there so I can see where it's going to be, okay? And then now we've got another page. So again, we've got this mechanism inside. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right here. That's allowing me to give myself a pocket. If I have more photos and I don't want to put in smaller photos, I could completely leave that alone. But for now, I think that's what I want to do. Okay. So I've got that. So then next, we're going to take a couple more of our small photos. Or I'm sorry, our small pieces, our PMLs. Let's remind ourselves which one we used the last time I used the All Good Things. So for you guys, we did this one. Now we're going to flip it. And then here, all I did was I have a place for another photo. And then another PML is going to be on the back. Or another, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is a PML, but another 4x3 on the back side of this. Okay. So I'm going to flip this over. I can do either or, but I do like kind of swapping it up so it's not like I'm seeing whatever, you know, the pretty, every time I change it, I turn it over. I do like kind of changing them and going back and forth. So again, I'm going to take these two pieces, go ahead and get my adhesive so that it's, move this out of the way for a minute. This is going to be on the inside of the book, so I don't have to worry so much about where my tab is. I can put it wherever I want it to be. Okay. Okay, just like that. Again, just trying to make sure my tab is nice and straight and even. And just hold it just for a minute. Make sure my pieces are all lined up. There you go. Okay. Ah, you know what? I did that and then I did not put it in my book. All right. I'm glad I noticed that as quickly as I did. There you go. All right. So we're going to put this in our book just like this. I'm going to bring in some more adhesive because it started to dry. And so it's not super wet anymore. Okay. And again, I'm pushing it all the way in, but giving myself just an eyelash space. Depends on how thick your eyelashes are, right? Ha ha ha. But there you go. Just like that. And I'm just holding that down again to help hold it in place. So I'm making my little photo placeholder, I guess you can say. And then I'm going to put on my piece. Okay, so let's see. What do I want to do? I think I'm just going to do the butterflies. I like the butterflies. And that way I can save like what I'm saying. I can save that for another page on the back. So let's, and remember, I'm using 2 of each out of the Memories and More. What I mailed to you is 1 of each. So you may not have as many options right now, but you can flip it around. You don't have to use the ones I used. You can use something different. So I like that we have that option to do. And then it allows me a little bit of extra play and wiggle room. So again, another room for a photo, or I could do another PML card. Now here we are, we've got our booklet pages together again, trying to decide what we're going to do. Now for this one, I think what I'm going to do is I really like having it come up out of the top, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my 1 page. I'm going to put this here like that. This paper started to tear, but it's okay because it's on inside. So that did not bother me. Nobody's going to see it. And I wanted to get good adhesion on here, but I don't want it to be like all the way towards the bottom. Like I don't want to stick it in too far. I want to make sure it's going to stick out and it's going to be seen and give something nice and, you know, quick and easy to grab. So again, just trying to make sure that this is nice and straight. That one, make sure that that's nice and solid, just like that. All right. So I'm getting ready. I'm going to glue this in so that this can go right here. Okay. And so for you guys, this is what I had done on mine. Here's my photo placeholder. Again, I had put a little piece of ephemera here, but on both sides, it's just another photo placeholder. So that's what I had done on that one. And I can see that I've got a little bit of extra coming out, and I think it's because I used the tape on this one. So I'm going to just glue that up real quick while I got it, my glue right here, and I notice it. That again is why it's so important to use your liquid adhesive right here, because you want to make sure it's nice and solid and closed. So I've got this here. So that tells me I'm going to have liquid adhesive here and then all the way down, right? And then I'm going to do it in this corner as well. That way it still has nice room to allow my photo to get in there, or my photos to get in there. All right, so now I'm just lining that up nice, make sure that everything comes together well, it's not off, and then just pushing them together just like that. Giving it just a minute for it to adhere well. And then again here, I want to be able to see where it pops open just a little bit, but again, it doesn't pull it open. And I can see it pops open right there, so I can stick this in there. There you go, just like that. Okay, so then we're going to flip it over, and then here's yours there. Now, I think I want to do one of these cards on this side, but a larger picture or a larger card. So I'm going to look through my larger cards and see what I have. These can be used as a background for a photo and putting a smaller photo in there, or they could be used, you know, for journaling or any of that. But I think I'm going to use it for that, just like that. This card, I believe I want to use on my back, kind of like I did here. That way, if I want to write like a little note, I easily can. So I'm just going to put this here. And I like the lighter. If you notice, it's got a little bit of a lighter tone at the top. I think I want that at the top. That way, if I want to put a smaller photo here and then I can stamp something there, I can. Or I can put just a piece of ephemera like we talked about, doing that. I would not recommend that you stamp after it's in your book, just because it's not going to lay flat. So if you know who you want to give this to, and you're making another one up or any of that, then you could easily stamp first if you knew what you wanted to say, if you planned it out in advance. I'm not sure, so I'll probably use ephemera, or I'll stamp it onto a piece of paper, a different piece of paper, and then glue it in there later. So there we go. All right. Now on this one that I did for you, you can see that my insert is going to have a card. I'm going to flip it, and then on my back side, I've got another card. So for me, I changed it this time and I swapped it. So I wouldn't have necessarily a PML card probably on this side. I'd probably do it on that side, just so that you see how that when that's open, it almost like frames it. I really like that look. So again, this is yours. Do it however you'd like. You can also, if you'd like, and you think you'll have more horizontal photos, maybe put it in like this, right? Now again, because if you're trying to pay attention to where your pieces are here, when you put it in like that, you're going to have a tab, and that might be more in the center, and that may not be what you want unless you're going to have your book standing up. So for me, I think just for safety's sake, I'm going to have it so that it goes like this, even though I do like it going horizontal, just because for where it's at now, I want to make sure that it doesn't throw it off from being able to sit up in that one direction. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive here. All right, I know it's so hard to see when it's color on color or tone on tone, but I'm just centering or putting that really close. I'm taking this piece. Feel like I need to add a little bit more adhesive there, since this is going to go in the inside, and that's where it's going to adhere to. Again, just trying to make sure it's nice and even. I'm going to take a little bit of adhesive and put it on the outside of that flap, because everything else should, and here. Everything else should adhere with the glue that's already on that card. And now I'm just going to line it up. All right. Just like that. I got a little bit of adhesive on my finger. I want to get that off before I put it on a page in my book and then glue my book closed. Let me do that real quick. All right. Again, the nice thing about using a liquid adhesive is I noticed just a second ago that that was kind of tucked in on one side. And because it was not quite dry yet and it wasn't a tape, I was able to pull it out and wiggle it. So pay attention to those things at first. Make sure everything is lined up, that you've got these pieces nice and even, just like you want them to be. All right, then I think I'm going to take, let's see. Let's see what my pieces are. I've got, that's too colorful, I think, for there. I'm just looking to see what I have. I do think I like just having this green here. That way it's not yellow on yellow. I'm just going to glue that down. And then center it there. Oops, sorry. The dogs are apparently, going after something outside. That's what they seem to be living for lately. Okay, so here's another opportunity for another pocket, or I can just glue it and not even have a pocket. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to put a pocket there. I think I'm just going to glue it. And let's look and see what I did there. Yep, I think that's exactly what I did. I didn't put another pocket. So I'm thinking alike. Okay. Now, again, because I'm gluing my pages, I know I keep saying this and I'm redundant, but I really want you to think through it. Because I'm gluing the book pages together, I am using my liquid adhesive instead of my tape adhesive. Some tape adhesives are super, super strong, but after they get in the heat and such, sometimes that stickiness kind of goes away. So I've just found that the best option for me is just to be using this liquid adhesive, and then I don't have to worry about it. It's got a good firm hold and grip. And I'm just making sure that that's nice and even. Do I need to put some in that corner? I might. I don't usually like to get all the way to the edges, especially when I'm scrapbooking, because that way I can tuck, embellishments up and under and all of that. But in this book type thing, you want to do that. You want to make sure it doesn't look like it's coming apart or any of that. Okay. Here we are. So same thing. That's what this page is here. So, well, I take that back. I guess I left those ones separate so that you could see there was no piece in the middle, but I went ahead, glued those together. So now we're over here. So again, you can do as many of these as you want. I'm looking to see how many I have left of how many I cut. I feel like I'm a little short. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But I may not do as many pockets as I had previously just because I maybe don't have enough of these. I knew I cut out plenty for you guys, but I did a few less for me this time. All right, so we've got that. Again, I'll just stick this in here. I could even just stick that like that instead of using another piece of paper, because what it's going to do is it's going to center in there. Right? And that's going to kind of be the base. So I think I might do that. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. So let's go ahead and put our liquid adhesive down so that we can get a nice good grip on that and get this centered. Push that down just a little bit. It doesn't really need to be, but it makes me feel better knowing that it's centered in there and it's going to have a good grip on the top and the bottom. All right, so now I'm going to take this and get this one ready. So this will also make it so that it's not quite so heavy. Once you get your photos in there and all of that, it gets a little heavy. It's not too bad, but it does get a little heavy. All right, so I'm going to stick this in here just like that. And I'm sticking it in a little bit further than maybe I did on the others because I want to make sure that this is going to hold on. So then I'm just going to stick it to the very bottom. Since I'm not putting another full piece on there, I'm just taking this. I want to make sure that I'm getting, ooh, and you know what? I wasn't paying attention when I put it in my glue on. I wasn't thinking about how it wasn't going to go all the way around. So I'm going to try and take off as much of that with my finger as I can. There we go. And then just make sure that that doesn't get so sticky. I'm going to let it dry for a minute before I turn my page because I want to make sure it doesn't stick to the other page. And I'm just making sure everything's nice and even. Again, I still have just a little bit of room to move it. So for you, if you're following along like I did on this one, this is where I did the Christmas cheer. Same thing. I did use 2 pieces of the 4x3 or 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. I did use 2 of those and glued those together. And then on the back side, it's just a place for another photo. So far I've got a lot of yellow and a lot of green. So I'm probably going to need to add in a little bit of pink. Even though there's some pink here, I did a lot of yellow back to back, right? I'll use this as a photo, use this as a photo. Let's see what we've got here. So I glued that together, these pieces, so that I have this. So let's do it. And I think, did I make that one? I did not make, oh, I did. See how I put this inside? So you could do the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this piece. Remember I was saying how I felt like I needed to add more pink. Let me see what I've got. I want to make sure and it's got pink and green. And again, this is why I love using these sheets, because I can use the green and the pink, and both are going to be just fine as I do that. I'm not going to have an issue whatsoever. So what I am going to do though is, because on the back side of this is green, I guess it doesn't matter. I was going to say I'm going to pull it out as green, and you're not going to be looking at it right away, but I do think I want the pink. And then on the back side here, I'll have that. Yep, I'm probably overthinking it, but that's okay. I don't mind. And I think what I'm going to do too, I'm looking at my pieces here. Let me look back and see what ones I used. Days of Laughter. Okay. I think I'm going to do pink. Maybe not. Hold on. I think I want to have a spot where I can do some journaling. So I think what I'm going to do is actually put those two together like that. And so I get days like this. I have a room for journaling. Sorry, that was off camera. And then I've got my pink here. Pink will be what you will see. Okay. And then they can write their journaling and stick it in. And then it's not going to have to worry about, if it's not even and all of that when they have that there. So I think that's what I'm going to do there. And I'm going to go ahead and take one of these and glue this down. Now, instead of using these pieces, I'm using 2 of these back to back. Again, one's going to be for journaling, but one, they can put a smaller photo here. So again, that's just something I'm doing here. I think it's fun and playful, but if you wanted to, you could easily, I'm just putting a little bit of glue in the center there to hold it down. You could easily use, and you should have plenty of paper in your stash from what I sent you. I'm sure I'll probably find mine later. All right. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Hold up. I'm doing it on the wrong side. I want that pink, don't I? I want that pink. All right. Hopefully that is not going to be too... I'm going through and just checking out my other one. That should be fine. All right. So we're doing it like that. Whew. That was almost a disaster. After I put all that time and thought into it, right? All right, here we go. We're putting this down. And I do like this one with the yellow and the small butterflies. I think we'll probably end up using that one later. But for now, I feel like I need to get some pink in there, and I need to have a place for some journaling. All right. Give it just a minute to dry. Make sure it's all nice and even. Just like that. All right, so while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and create my pocket in my book. just like this. So again, remember, we're going to put a pocket here at the top, just like we did before. This is going to end up being in the book, just like this. So I'm just going to do it on the sides, all along the bottom. And then on this side as well. There we go. And then I'm just putting these together and lining it up, making sure it's nice and tight and even. All of these pages are making my book that much more stable and secure. I'm going to push it together in the center to make sure, even though in the center up here I don't have a lot of adhesive, right? It's all down in the bottom. I'm just pushing it together again just to make sure it all kind of adheres better and there's no bubbles or gaps. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this one in here. And even though I don't necessarily have to put it in now, I am, just because it helps me see what the layout of it is going to be, right? So just like that. All right, so again, I have room now for more photos, and I've got to do something with the center. So that's how we had that one. I think for this one, we're going to use, let's see what we've got. I've got lots of yellow. Okay, so let's do the same thing here. I think my husband and my daughter are having a good time in there, so I apologize if you can hear them, but they are having a good old time, right? And that's okay. We need that. All right, so I'm just looking to see what I've got left. I love that piece, but I think I'm going to use that for in the back. And I think I'm going to use this because I really like that piece too. I still have lots of pieces too. I still have Filled with Happiness, and I have this piece here. Filled with Happiness is another one that would be really good on the outside of the book, right here. And it might even be a good one for the outside here instead of having a journaling piece. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I do think it would look good to have this one here. So let me put that down. Okay, center that. So I've got that. Oh, that doesn't look like it's nice and centered. Let me move out what I've got underneath. I think that threw me off. So this wouldn't be difficult if it was glue. I could just move it over, or if the liquid glue. But thank goodness it's not going to tear. And I'm just going to try and there we go. So just like that. Now I just want to think about what's going to look best as I'm looking at it. And I think I like it like that. Hold on. Hold on. There's so many pretty pieces. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? I think I'll do it like this. That way I'm getting still some of the green there. I'm getting some of this here. So we already got the peach and the green there. But I still have this piece too. This is so pretty. Let's look. Do I want to do it? Yeah, I think I want to do that. I like the watercolor look and then this. So I think I'm going to do that. All right. So I'm going to take these two. These are what I have left that I see right here. I may cut up a couple more just so I can finish this well. So same thing. We've done this. You guys know at this point what to do. Like that. Now, as you can see in this album, I did everything like I did it so that it's going portrait. I didn't do any that stuck out from that middle section, but my other one I did. So again, you can do however you want to do, however you're going to use it. It's totally up to you. Because mine was going to be standing up more, it didn't bother me that it was one way or another. I love having a background piece like this behind it just really makes it pop, in my opinion, so that it can kind of, as I go to put my photos on, it's going to frame it even more for my photos. So we decided we were going to put this one here. So I'm just making sure this is nice and even. Put that one there. Oop, that one looks like it's a little off. Let me see if I can still fix it. Oh, I think I got that one a little off. Okay. I don't want to ruin it. I'm just going to leave it be. All right. See, this is where you can see it. That's going to drive me nuts. All right. And then we'll put this here. Actually, what was I doing? Was I putting green or was I putting that? Nope, I was putting green. As much as I like this side, whoops, see, I told you I was going to run out. Much as I like this side, I feel like having too much of that right beside each other is not gonna do our eyes good. So I'm just gonna go ahead, add a little bit more, and then I'm gonna put this one. I think I want that one at the bottom. It looks the best at the bottom because they're growing that way, just like that. Okay. So let me see where. Oh, this is where we were at. My book closed. I apologize. So on this one, I just did another place for a photo. So you wouldn't have had to use a card, but I had extra cards, so I'm using them because I pulled 2 of each one, right? Now up here, you can see on the next set, we're going to have where we have to put our book pages together. And so I just put some pictures here. And so this is where I'm going to put my book pages together. I'm not going to put any more photos because I've already got 2 that are sticking up here. So I feel like that's good. I don't need to do that. And I'm just going to glue this together. Let me change this. Well, actually, I do need this to be liquid, don't I? Oh, got a booger. All right. Think about, if you're using this for an event or something like that. If you wanted to do this for a birthday party, you might have a lot, or Easter or something like that, you might have a lot of photos. And so you would want to take every opportunity to be able to put your photos or tell your story inside. For Christmas, obviously, most of us all take a lot of photos for Christmas. And so this is a good time to do it. You could also use, if you have buy a kit and it has a bunch of cards and they're all the same, you could use your card bases and just cut them up and put them on as inserts like this as well. And just have some fun with it. It doesn't have to be any specific way or, another. You're just having fun with it. All right, so this is our last page here. So you can see here, this was the last page that I had. All right, this was our last page. So I am out of those little cards, insert cards, and I do think, let me see what I'm going to use. Let me see. We did days like this. So I want to use this one and I want to use that. I'm going to get, well, actually, wait a minute. I'm going to use this one and that one. So this is what I want it to look like. Since this is my last section and I'm putting them in there. I feel like I have so many colors there. Maybe not do that. Maybe just hold it out and leave it for more photos. Or should I do one with more photos? Maybe this one. Maybe I'll do this as my last one. I think I like that idea. But I need another piece for that. So let me cut that out real quick. I apologize. But these are super easy. So if you need more, that's one of the things I love about these sizes. There's no question about it. It's a 4 1/4 by 3/4. and you can cut more. So let me do that. There's one. So hopefully you're seeing just how easy this is to put together and that you can just make it however you want. You don't have to do it a specific way. You can just make this as you need for the number of photos that you need, for the theme that you need. It's all going to work out, you know, and you can create it and make it individual for each person. And that's really truly what I love about this. Okay, so let's just do this last one in there. Okay. Move this one up just a little bit. I've been doing them all in the center. And so for this last one, I think I just want to do it there just to be different. Change it up a little bit. Okay. I did not like that the last one was off center. So let me make sure I've got some glue coming out, but let's make sure that we've got this centered. And I clean up any glue. So here you can see where I took some of the ephemera. This one says Happy Christmas. I know sometimes it's hard to see with this light. I apologize, but I put a little bit of adhesive here at the very top since there wasn't any to close that up. And then I think I said I wanted to use this one, so let's do that. Okay. Like these pages are getting off centered for somehow. Okay, just like that. And again, here's another place for a photo, just like you can see here. And then we have our back. Okay. So for this one, what I wanted you to pay attention to is I have it so that the wording is this way. So if I was to flip it, I want to make sure that I have it so my lines are facing down as well. Now, obviously, when you open it, it's going to seem upside down, or if you're looking at it like this, it might seem upside down. But if you were to display it and have it like this, you want to make sure that as you turn it around, you've got it going in the same direction. So if you do it like that, and you have lines on the back where you might write a note or do anything like that, just make sure that you have it going in the right direction. So if I was to do it like this, to me, that would almost look upside down. But it's honestly, it could go on either way because there's no, to me, it looks like it's flying up, but there's really this, they're going in all different directions. So it doesn't really look like it's doing a whole lot. I'm just going to make sure that I don't want filled with happiness. Do I want that? Let's see. Oh, I'm thinking about using this one again. This is what yours is going to look like. I don't think I used the filled with happiness anywhere, and I do think I want to use that. Again, it's going to help pull in. For me, what I'm thinking too is it's going to help pull in these green tabs, which almost seem out of place, but I love just pulling in the green from around here. Okay, so I'm going to do that because I think I like that. And because it's on the back cover, again, I am using liquid adhesive just because I want to make sure that this is going to be glued down really, really well. That way, if it's in somebody's purse or a bag or whatever, it's not going to come off. But how fun and is that, like, locking hinge mechanism? I love that. The first time I saw it was actually from a good friend of mine, Susan. She taught us how to do it, and I loved it. I thought that is just so cool. You don't have to have anything special. It just all kind of fits together and it comes together super easily. And so hopefully you like it. Hopefully you see just all of the things that you could easily do to kind of make this your own. And so now you're just going to go through each of your pieces, your papers, and if you want, you can add your titles here or your sayings here, or you can wait until you have. If you're going to give this as a gift, go ahead and put those on. As you can see, some of them I put foam tape on, some of them I did flat. If you want it to have like a photo here, make sure that as you do it flat that you still can get your photo in there, that it's not going to be popped up. I did adhesive here and I can still get my photo up underneath there. Same thing here. So just think about that as you're adding it. But you know, if it's a gift, you absolutely want to have these little sayings. If it's something that you're making for yourself, you may want to wait until you know what the photo is, and then you can say something in there as well. But I just think that these are such cute gifts that come together so well, and so easily, and a lot of times just using things in your stash that you can use over and over and over again. And as I'm sitting here, remember I told you I always have my little thing. I actually have this piece that's been in here for a while that was from a card kit, a paper pumpkin card kit, that just, the more I was looking at it, the more as I was putting this together, I think that it could work really, really well in there. The greens might be off just a little bit. That might be my only problem. But I could also just clip this piece here and just have the flower, and then I could put that in, and I think I may just actually do that. So like I said, just have fun with this. Decorate it up however you want. Because this one has butterflies, I can see myself adding a lot of butterflies to it. If you have ephemera, if you have stamp sets that have like little sayings in them, like I did for here, this was off of a stamp set. I just went and stamped a bunch of little sayings and then added them to the book. So think about different things that you may have if you're trying to create something different, or even with your Christmas, you might use up all your ephemera here and then want some more things that you're going to say. So you could look at your Christmas stamps for some additional more. But and pay attention. They have circles, they have squares, they have different things. So change it up so that it doesn't all look the same. If you have any floral pieces like this, you could do that. So again, just play around with this, see what you can come up with, and have fun. That's the biggest part of it. And then when you're done getting all of those pieces in, go back and make sure that you add in some of your embellishments. Look at all of these little, just, to me, this kind of took it over the top. It looked pretty, but when I put these in here, it just made everything from the foil just really pop in. You can see that. And so because this one is for more of a little boy, I kept our pieces really neutral. And so these are just the adhesive back texture dots from Stampin' Up. These were in my stash. I just pulled them out, got all of them here, so, and just kept it. So I still have a little bit of embellishment here, but they're not super frou-frou for a boy, right? But they're able to still kind of, they almost look like little brads or tacks or something like that from working out in the garage, that kind of thing, maybe a little nail head or something like that. So again, it was just trying to keep it really neutral, a little bit more masculine, and I think those fit well. For these, honestly, what's coming to my mind to use for that, let me grab it. I'm not sure if we still have these or not, but I've got to get out my embellishments here. Let's see. We had little butterflies and birds. Oh, right here. Here's my birds and dragonflies. I think those would be beautiful on there, don't you? And then I'm looking to see if I still have any of my butterflies, but I don't know that I do. I may have used my butterflies. I know we had the little bee trinkets. So you may have some of those in your stash. I know that they were on clearance, so if it's something that you want, you might want to go and look real quick and see if you can find them too and get them before they're gone. But I just love pulling in like these little embellishments here that you can use and they don't have to pop up and be really big, but they can kind of go just super well in that kind of a setting. So let me see real quick, and I'll do a couple so you can kind of see. Let me get my tool. So I might do, knowing I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to put, if I'm going to put anything on there, I may take some of these and just do it like that there. On this one, I might, let's see. I've locked my dogs out. I'm sure you can hear them at this point. I've locked them out because they keep coming in and then barking if they think that they see something outside. So I was trying to make it so it was a little bit quieter for you. I'm not really sure that I did, so I apologize if I didn't. But so look how cute those are. And then I can still take some brads or something else and add those to it. But I just, look how fun and cute they are. I put one on here, one here. I'm changing them up just based upon what I think I might see. Let's see. I love being able to kind of use these embellishments and kind of change them up a little bit. There we go. Don't forget to put some of them on the back. Sometimes we only do them on the front, and it's a two-way book, right? So like right here, that'd be perfect for me to add a couple. So because these are all butterflies, I'm going to stick with, I don't really have a butterfly there. I've got the dragonfly. I really think I have butterflies, so I'm going to wait because I'm pretty sure I do. I just got to go find them. I'm going to do up here. I might do the little dove. Just like that. Got some of these here. Lots of laughter. Feel like I need to add a little something there, so I'll probably take some ephemera or something else that I can put there. I'm excited to kind of play with this and then show you kind of what I come up with. But again, we're really just, you know, playing around, seeing what we can come up with and have a good time with it. That's really what it's all about. And even don't be afraid to add some of these ephemera pieces to the pictures. If you're going to put the pictures on here before you give it to them, add some to the pictures. Let them stick out and be able to be seen. Again, I'll probably put some there, but I want to wait because that's all butterflies. So there you go. Like I said, just kind of play with it. Take your ephemera if you've got any and you want to add it. Right here I've got some from a different paper pack, but I think, or from a different ephemera kit. This one is one that we've had out for a while. It's got the Happy Easter, Happy Birthday, thanks. But XOXO would work great. Oh, Happy Day, that would work great on this because we're not really celebrating anything specific. Right? We're just kind of, or if we are, we could put that on here, but we're just, those other ones I think are kind of more for a card, but these are more, a little bit more neutral. So let's see what we can do with these. I might put this like right here. Oh, Happy Day. And again, as I do that, I'm going to make sure that I only adhere it right on there. The other thing I could do, and right now we're just playing, right? There's nothing specific that we have to do, but I'll go into my little boxes and see what do I have. I always start here because, you know, these are leftovers and I want to use up my leftovers if at all possible. This might be too big. Yeah, I think I want to use something, or too small, I mean. Let's see. I'm pulling in my bins to see what can I find. I do this a lot for when I have like little pieces here and there that I need to create. Instead of just cutting out more, I will look and see what I have. So here's this piece, and I could easily do that. So that's a white, and I feel like that's a little too big for too white on white, and I could put another color in there, but it would also work well to go here. kind of like we did. This one's smaller, but see it like here where I did the Merry and Bright. And by the way, when I did the Merry and Bright, I think I talked about this a little bit, but I put foam here and I left it so that there's nothing there. That way, when this went down, the Merry and Bright kind of went around this photo. You still have the whole piece of the photo here. The only thing that's showing is that little tab, but it's kind of sticking out over there, and you're going to see it here. You're just going to see Merry, right? And that works well when you're talking about Merry Christmas. So that worked, I think, pretty well there. This circle is a little bit big. You're not really going to see much of the green behind it if I use it, but I'm going to keep it out and I'm going to play with it. So I'm not going to make you watch me go through all of this, but I did want to kind of just show you some of my thought process as I do it, types of things that I might grab or play with. Here's another little circle. These are all white, and since I'm using some ephemera that's white, I don't really want to use that too much with the white. I want to have more color, so I'm going to go into my other pieces and see what I can find. These, I'm not sure if these will work or not. Again, here's another piece. There's that. Let's see what I have. Again, I'm not going to keep you for too long. I was just going to show you a couple of things, see what I could come up with, see if it might help and inspire you at all. But I don't know that. I think some of these colors are just too dark, and this is a really fresh, springy piece. So I don't want to do too much of that. Again, we know we'll probably pull in this flower, so I'm going to put that out. And really what I'm doing is I'm just pulling out any pieces that I have in here that I think might work, and then I can play and do some other things with it in a few minutes, right? Once I know what I have to play with, it makes it a little bit easier. So let's see. I don't know. Are you like me? Do you do you make lots of little pieces and then have lots left over and then like, oh, what am I going to use it for? And then all of a sudden you've got like the perfect thing and you're so glad that you have it. Like I know I do that quite a bit. And I'm so glad that I have it. Let's see. Especially now as I'm making all of those Christmas cards I was telling you about. This is a good thing I can go to and just pull them out. Let me see. And because all of our colors coordinate, this works really, really well, right? We know which colors to use. We know if it's going to work or if it's not, that kind of thing. I do have glacier seems to be one of those colors I create with a lot. So I've got a lot of glacier in here, but because I've got so much of the glacier in the background, I probably am not going to use a lot of that. Let's see. But having a little bit of different sayings, doing a few different things, I think that will help me. All right, so I'm going to cut it off here so as I could sit here all day and play, and I'm not going to make you watch me. But I hope that this has inspired you with some of the things that you can do, and that you will even in the comments show us or come onto the group and show us as well so that we can see what you've created with these. So anyway, have a wonderful Christmas and make sure you take lots of pictures so that you can be scrapping with us coming forward. All right. Thanks so much. Happy scrapping, everybody. Night.